everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. When you let your nuts hang.
Remember this lady?
Oh, I'm not going anywhere.
Get out.
The drunk ex-wife?
Get out. Get out.
When are you getting your shot?
Get out. Get out. Get out.
This house is disgusting. I know. That's what I said when I walked in. I was like, what the fuck happened to the house? CBS really makes me involved. Yeah, oh, there you go. We can all have...
Get away from me. Get away from me. Get away from me. Get away from me.
I'm sorry if I...
Keep your distance. Get away from me. Get away from me.
No wonder Jimmy hates you.
Get away from me.
She's so trashy.
Come on, Leah.
That was a really cute picture of you with your underwear. I know. Don't worry, we're gonna go get cleaners. I'm gonna hire cleaners for the house. Hey, baby. Jimmy, I've never seen you look so this is embarrassing. It is embarrassing, but it's okay.
Get out.
Alright, yeah, so this lady right here pulled up to her ex-husband's house and was trying to clean up. Anyway, I think she's about to give some backstory and some other story about another woman. I think about her kid with her ex-husband, and about this drunk ex-wife.
Okay, so this is part one. I'll start off with my ex-husband, Patrick. I don't talk about him. There's nothing to talk about. I moved on. But we met in the Navy. We were in Sicily together. We were very young, and we got married. I was stationed, we met in Sicily. He went to Hawaii, and I was still in Sicily. So our thought process was like, when are we going to see each other? And we're like, how about we just get married? And then we just got married right away. And at this point, I had a year left in the Navy, and I got out. I had our baby in Hawaii, and it was a really rough first year of marriage. I don't know, we clashed, and he would tell me, what do you bring to the table? And it's like, I got out of the military for you. So, okay. I was a little depressed. I was by myself, stay-at-home mom, postpartum, and that was our first child. We did have good moments, and then he went on deployment, took my daughter with me to Indiana, and then I was feeling really anxious about rejoining him in California when he came back from deployment, because I realized I felt so much happier without him. But everyone's kind of like, oh, well, you got married, that's the father of your child, like, you made your bed, not lie in it. So we went to California, and we were in East Lake, Chula Vista for about a year, and we had what I call a Band-Aid baby. Like, okay, well, let's just have a baby, make the marriage better. And he went on deployment again, but prior to that, we bought a house in Menifee. And this entire time, whenever he was out at sea or deployed, I was by myself with the kids. People didn't come around and help me, so it was just me and the kids. And that was fine, because I had been stationed in San Diego before, so I was really familiar with the area and super happy. No big deal. So we were in Menifee, and then I'm resentful towards him, because it's like, okay, you moved us out here. I don't like it here. Like, there's no Navy people. I don't have any friends. So, okay, I joined the reserves because I missed the Navy. I become a medical assistant. Then I'm pregnant by accident, and we lose that child. It was a boy, and it should have been a good year for us because he just made first class, and it was devastating. So selfishly, I got pregnant again because I felt like I needed to replace what happened. And we had a girl, and not even 4 months after. And then at this point, we've been married like 5.5 years, and just we had our good moments. Why would I lie? And just at some points, you start like going places like SeaWorld, the zoo, things like that, but you're like going there, but you're not really connecting with your spouse. It's like you're there, but it's for the kids, and it's almost like we were never on the same page. I felt he was controlling. I just got resentful of him more and more, and I was just like, I resented my life. I'm like, I'm stuck. I have 3 kids with this guy, and this is it. I can't leave. And so one day, it was February, I believe it was 2020, we got into a fight. But at this point, my daughter, youngest one, was 4 months old, and I had suffered from postpartum in the past. He even would tell me, oh, I don't like after you have a baby, you always act like this. And I told my sister, because my family did come out, like, hey, I'm not feeling like myself. And I regret that when I went to the doctor, they're like, are you having all these feelings of harm and this, and this? I said no, because I was afraid of like the stigma, and I was still super young. And so I just thought to myself when I looked at my third child, I'm like, I want to have another baby, but it can't be with him. It just can't. And we started fighting more. And at one point he rose his fist to me like this and then walked away. And he's like, well, what are you going to do? You don't make any money, things like that, like how I was stuck. So one day I came home when I was just resentful of my life, and, you know, we weren't getting along. And he's like, it's not my fault you don't have friends. It's not my fault. Just kind of like degrading me. So I got up, I had the baby in my arms, and I just shoved him like this. He did it too, and he pushed me so hard with both hands that I fell flat on my back on this dollhouse. And I just grabbed the piece of it and I threw it at him, and I laughed at him like, you're an idiot, like your dad's gonna ask you what happened because he built it. I left, I went to college because I was going to MSJC, and I was texting him shit. I was like, yeah, fuck you, like, what do you have to say? Like, I didn't want nothing to do with him. I'm like, I'm out of this marriage. And when I came home, there was police there, and I thought the neighbors called, but no, it was him. And they were like, at this point I was calm, and they were like, yo, you know, Patrick says this, and this. And they were like, well, in this state, like, one of you guys have to go. And I was nervous because I was like, okay, we don't have family out here, so I'll go ahead and volunteer myself because I don't want them to go into a foster care system if both of us go. So I said this, I was like, whatever he said, I did. And so they're like, yoink, got her. But the issue was not so much the arrest, but the fact that he asked for a restraining order, like, against me and the kids, so I couldn't go home. And that's when I lost it. I was in the police car and I just dropped. I was like sobbing because I wanted to breastfeed my 4-month-old. And just because he was my husband, like, you didn't even want me to like have the doors not locked when you were getting gas at the pump, but now you're throwing me for the streets over this shit, whatever. So in that time frame, I'm like, oh my God, I'm losing my shit. Like, I'm in jail. It's so dirty and gross. I'm like, where's the bathroom? They're like looking at me like, are you stupid? It's right here. I'm like, wow. And I'm just sobbing and sobbing. I bail myself out, can't go home. So I'm like, fuck, what do I do? So I decided, you know what? He's had control of my life this entire time. I'm just gonna go to Hawaii. So I went to Hawaii for 7 days. I didn't go home to Indiana. I just didn't want to get a hotel room close to home and not be able to go home. So I was like, let me just do something for me. So I went to Hawaii, and it was a little selfish of
She said, forget it. I just lost my kids. I'm on my way to Hawaii.
me. I had agreed to that. And I came back home because I was only there for a week. And I was hiking, met with local people, whatever. But I had the mindset of like, I'm still married, you know? So it is what, like, I forgave him. I even forgave him when I was in jail. I'm like, fuck, I want my family. Like, fuck this. And then he texted me. He's like, what time are you going to get to the house? And I was like, okay, I should treat you like you treat me and not tell you. But I told him the time. And then when I got home, there was a sheriff there. And in that time frame, because I guess he asked neighbors where I was, and one of them knew I was in Hawaii. During that time, and he got pissed. Like, what the fuck? I guess I'll go somewhere too. But whatever. He, in this moment, flew in his mother and sisters to, like, take on my household. Okay, I forget where I left off. I had a call. Okay, what? He tricked me, and there was a sheriff there. He handed me papers saying, there's a permanent restraining order. And I just screamed. I screamed so loudly because I'm like, where are my children? My ex-mother-in-law drove them around somewhere, and they're like, you have to go inside of the house and you have 5 minutes to grab whatever you have and leave. And I lost my shit because I was like, I was a stay-at-home mom for 6 years. So going from being with them 24/7 to like, I'm not allowed near them, I'm surprised I didn't die. It was by the grace of God and my parents, like, I didn't die. And then my family members too, my extended family members that actually did help at that time. I'm not going to discredit that. So I saw my lawyer the next day. It was a criminal lawyer, and he was very handsome. And I don't know what got into me, but I was like, okay. I told him, I was sobbing. I actually called him. I'm like, oh my God, I can't go home. He's like, you can stay here. And I'm like, it didn't happen. But I met him at Starbucks the next day, and I showed him the permanent restraining order, and he was like, you have to file for divorce. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, I'm not filing for divorce. Like, I'm not divorcing my husband. Like, you don't know us. Like, I'm not divorced. He's like, you have to file for divorce to maintain your rights. And I'm like, it's over. Like, I have to divorce him. There's nothing else. So I said, all right, well, I think we should hook up. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, you know, there's no coming back, and I'm done with him. Like, this needs to just happen. And he's like, I don't want to be one of those guys. And I'm like, well, I'm saying it. So it took a lot of courage, but I did it. And from that point, I was like, I removed myself from my ex-husband. We're never going to be back together. And I'm not proud that I did that, but in that moment, I was in such a state of shock. And the fact that I was faced with reality of, damn, my family will never be a family again, and I have to leave my husband. So I just needed to remove myself in every way from him possible. And like I said, that was very immature of me and not right of me to do. But, you know, there's no playbook of, hey, you're a stay-at-home mom and you can never go home. By the way, you got to get a divorce. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to remove myself from him emotionally, spiritually, the way this is. So, yeah, that's how I knew we were never getting back together. Okay, I know that was a lot, but okay, where did I leave off at? Okay, that happened with the lawyer. All right, so at this point, I'm flying back and forth from Indiana to California because it was COVID time. And that stalled the criminal process of like fighting my charges. And it was so shitty. And oh damn, colors. Anyway, I hope you guys can hear me. So, oh damn. Okay, I had to pause for colors. So, okay, tickets at the airport, or like plane ride tickets, were like $10, $20 because it was COVID. But the fact that like as my world was falling apart, so was the rest of everyone else's world, like COVID and mask and 10 feet away. And I'm like, but my children, but this, and everyone's like, but we can't do nothing for you, and you know, all these things. And so, all right, at one point I get a lawyer, Gray Law Group, Deborah Fujiwara. That was my attorney. Horrible. Anyway, I'm sorry. I said I forgave her. But my ex-husband was able to get emergency orders to Texas. But mind you, at this time, there was a protective order on me because of the arrest. It was granted, even though that's just how it is. And we had our hearing because he was supposed to move to Texas. And my attorney was like, all right, let them go to Texas. It's only temporary. Don't worry about it. His lawyer wrote it was temporary. I was sobbing, like crying through my face mask. Like, I didn't want my children to go, but they're like, you have this criminal charge over you. You can't, like, I would have rehearsed this better. There's a criminal charge over you that hasn't been worked out just yet. So either, like, basically the best case scenario was for me to let them go to Texas in exchange for him lifting the restraining order thing or whatever it was. That was a horrible mistake. I should have never let them go. There was a different route I could have took. So from that point on, I only had visitation. But in the interim of this, the visitation I did have, even with a lawyer, was like, he only let me see them like 2 hours once every week or 2 weeks. He would message me from fake accounts. And one point, I think it was after I got with a lawyer, he found me in my hotel and he was like wanting to hook up with me. He said how he was sexually frustrated. And I was like, where are the kids? And then he's like, oh, you already slept with someone else, I can tell. And I'm like, I'm not sleeping with you. I didn't let him touch me. I was like, where are the kids? And he would just say, like, you know, I want to be back with you, but my parents would disown me if I lift everything. And we've already been through so much too many times. And it was such a horrible time in my life. But I digress. That's just the start and end to me and my ex-husband. But in the interim of that too, he moved to Texas and he got with this girl, and within a couple months he moved into her house. And basically I saw her on FaceTime, and she wants to say I made fun of her. I didn't. I took a screenshot of us talking on FaceTime and put it on my Facebook, and everyone made fun of her. That's not my fault. But I told her, I'm like, hey, you might want to watch out for him because I was his wife of 6 years, mother of his only children, and he turned on me. And she's like, well, you can't judge people based off their past. And I was like, it's not a past. Like, this was just 6 months ago. But whatever, I digress. I don't know what much to say about him. I just know that, like, his new wife now is posting stuff from 2020, the arrest, the 6-year custody battle, how I only had visitation, things like that. And then in the interim of that, I don't want to get into about how my son was born. I don't want to talk about that. I don't need to. I in the interim of that, I went active duty Navy and then was in Illinois, and I enjoyed every bit of it. And then I got really depressed because now I'm just flying once a month to see my kids. And so I was able to get orders to Texas and move here. But I bought my house in Illinois and I bought my house here in Texas. So I don't know where else I was going to go with talking about this first marriage. But if you want to talk about how I'm unstable, not a good mom, all these things, like, who else took care of the kids when husband was out at sea? Who took care of the kids when he was on deployment? Who took care of the kids ever? So you want to clock the worst 20 minutes, the worst mistake of my life, and judge me off of that for the last 6 years of that marriage, or bringing those 3 kids into the world? Go ahead. But no, I don't feel any kind of way about it anymore. I forgive him, and I even was proud of him. Recently made a Facebook post about how I'm proud of him for advancing in his career, because I felt like me and the kids took a big part of that, because it's really hard to make E4. I was with him when he was E4. It's really hard to go from E4 to E6, and then he advanced even higher than that. I'm like, good for him. I don't have much else to say about that, but good for his current wife now. That I don't care. There's nothing for me to really answer about that anymore. That's my story with my ex-husband. Yes, we loved each other. Yes, we had good times, and I wish him well. Don't know why I'm like, they're making TikToks about me from like 6 years ago and things like that, but it is what it is. I guess I couldn't expect anything less. Okay, I just dropped my 2 smallest at daycare, and now I'm gonna go into work. And before anyone comes at me like, oh, driving and blah blah blah, no, take a screenshot. No, I'm not gonna do that. But we're on this daycare, leaving it. Okay, how I met Jimmy. I met him through Bumble at first, and then like we didn't talk. He said I wasn't being talkative, but I didn't want to come off as desperate or needy, so he stopped talking to me. Cool. And then we met again on Facebook dating. I'm like, I already ran into you. And I don't know, we small talk. I gave him my number, and then we met. And the first time we met, we were at a restaurant in Weatherford. And it was so funny. Like, I saw my captain there, and I was like, oh shoot. He's like, what is it? Is it some guy that you dated? I'm like, no, it's my boss, basically. So he was like, I tried to avoid getting up, but I had to go to the bathroom, and I came out, and then of course, now I passed the table where the captain was sitting, and I just did my little right face, sir, how's it going? And then I just spoke, I was just being very like polite, because how are you not going to be? It's the captain. And then I sit back with Jimmy. He's like, your whole demeanor changed and everything. I'm like, and he was just making fun of me. So I was like, shut up. And I don't know. It was just very funny, whatever. And we would go on dates. Like when I'd get off work, I'd just go to like Starbucks or like the nearby trail by base, because I didn't want to be too far away before I'd have to pick up my son at 6 o'clock. And I just fell so in love with him. I'm like, oh my God, he's so gorgeous. He's from California. He's everything I've ever wanted. Irish Mexican, loves baseball, you know, Christian values, Catholic values, like comes from a big family. Just perfect. Everything I've ever wanted into one. I'm like gonna be with nobody else. Like, this is it for me. So within 2 weeks, like, he buys me a ring, and yes, I definitely like strong-armed him a little bit into it. I was like, oh, when are you gonna give me a ring? Like, I don't know. I'm very pushy, kind of. When I'm very persistent, when I want something, I get it no matter what. And I will admit that. He bought me a ring, and no, he wasn't drunk or drinking. And it wasn't until after I found out. Okay, so then I heard from, at the time, or well, I heard from someone else that he was still married. I was like, what? I was like, what happened? Because you told me you were divorced. He's like, oh, well, I had a hearing left, and I was like floored, and I almost wanted to like cancel everything. But at this point, I had already put everything on Facebook, like, oh, the ring, and I found the hottest guy in Texas, but he's from California, like I've always wanted, whatever. And I messaged Anita. I'm like, hey, this is what I heard. Like, he said you guys are really divorcing. So, what's going on? Like, men lie. I just want to know. And she's like, oh, I'm so glad that he found someone else. It's been like a year and things like that. And just, she gave me the blessing. Like, I've definitely moved on, and basically another hearing and whatever. She's like, but I can have my family back whenever I want. And I'm like, okay. And so normally in situations like that, I would have walked away like 100% from, but I was like so head over delusional in love. And okay, so from that point, I think it was December 14th, I had a work party, Christmas party, and that was the first time we were intimate. And from there, fast forward a few weeks, he actually does get his divorce finalized. And so, was I a mistress? That's subject to interpretation, I guess. But I got her blessing to be with him. So that's how I met my husband. And yeah, that was pretty crazy and whirlwind. And I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty cringe, but I was like, I want to be Kourtney Kardashian. Like, oh, I just want to have that toxic, like mouth, like tongue in your mouth kind of love, all annoying. But I was just in love. I don't know what to tell.
All right, so maybe some people are confused about why we watching this. Jimmy's ex-wife came into the house.
Okay.
I hate when it does that. Jimmy's ex-wife came into their home and was saying that it was dirty and all that stuff.
Not your husband.
Oh, I'm sorry. My ex-husband.
Come
Whoa,
here.
Jimmy.
Come here.
Jimmy, come here.
Stay over there.
He's grabbing by the arm. Come here. Jimmy, come here now.
Stay there.
Oh, I've never.
Still one female.
Jimmy, come here.
Hold on a minute.
Come here, please.
Just wait.
Come here. This is crazy.
Jimmy talking about weight.
Jimmy, come here.
Hold on.
Why am I doing
Because you keep trying to wander off on me.
this? No, I wasn't. I just walked
Now
up.
you're not going to wander off on me.
I'm not going to do it. Jimmy?
I'll hold on to this so you don't drop.
So most people who watch this on my channel realize that Jimmy is still sleeping with the wife.
Get out.
Oh, I'm not going anywhere.
Get out.
What, my
Get
dog?
out.
The dog is still fucking barking.
What's up, brother? So this is my house. I own the house. This is my ex-wife. She's picking up my daughter. She called the cops. It's not her house, not her deal.
They're getting a divorce.
Now, why is he telling his current wife it's not her house? The ex-wife is picking up the kids. The current wife called the cops. And Jimmy is saying it's not her deal. It's not her business. Like, Jimmy.
This is my ex-wife. She's picking up my daughter. She called the cops. It's not her house, not her deal.
They're getting a divorce.
It's
The ex-wife is happy to tell the police that Jimmy is divorced. Jimmy is sleeping with the ex-wife.
It's not.
He's wasting your time and your resources.
You were in close proximity to me, and you're upsetting my kids. Yes, you're in close proximity to me. I did not invite you to the bedroom. I didn't invite you to the bathroom. Get away from me.
Huh?
For a second. Just stand over there for me.
She got her shoes off, extra comfortable, and all this stuff. Like,
Okay. So what's going on?
She just entered into the house, and she entered into the house She entered into the house into our bedroom, and she's approaching me. And I said, "Get out of the house! I didn't invite you in here. My kids are here, things like that." And I started recording her. I said, "Leave this house. I'm calling the police." So that's what I did before it escalated, because I have my kids here. She's approaching me. I have videos of her coming. I said, "Keep your distance. I'm calling the police."
so now does everybody understand why we're watching this story about who Jimmy is?
Okay, I don't know why this keeps cutting off. I'm on my lunchtime. In case people are like, "Why aren't you taking care of your kids?" But okay. All right. So I have a ring on my hand at this point. We're dating, or we're engaged. Everything is great. He's wonderful. Whatever. He's attentive. He's going to my house. He's fixing stuff. And it's Christmas Day or Christmas Eve. He's not answering any of my phone calls. So I'm like, what's going on? Like, what is going on? And I drive to his house, and Danita answers the door, and she's like, I said, "Is Jimmy there?" And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Can he come out here?" And she's like, "You can come in." And I was like, "No, why can't he come out here?" She's like, "He's not going to get up." And I'm like, "No." So it's kind of weird, but I trusted that I wasn't in danger or whatever. So I went in the house, and I saw him in the room. He was laid down, and I'm like, what's going on? And what I didn't recognize and what I didn't know is he didn't tell me that he was an alcoholic. And he's like, "How'd you get here? And isn't my house nice?" And I was like, "No," because even though it was a brand new house, it felt like very cold, very empty, kind of like a dental office. There was like no warmth. There was just kind of sadness in the air. And I'm trying to get him up and stuff, and he's just passed out. And I've never seen that before on a person, ever. I've never witnessed that. And I ended up leaving the house in like tears, because I'm like, oh my God, like, who is this person? And we were supposed to go on a trip to Arkansas, but it didn't happen because he couldn't even get out of bed. And I ended up leaving without him because I had already scheduled the Airbnb and everything, and I had a friend that lived out there. But I thought we were broken up, so I was like devastated. I'm like, okay, I don't know what this is, so I can't handle it. I'm not professional in this, so we're gonna have to break up. And didn't hear from him for a few days. I was heartbroken, devastated, crying. And then he comes back to my house, like in the driveway, like a week and a half later. He's like, "Hey, like, I didn't break up with you. Like, you know, he drank because, I don't know, holidays or whatever." And Danita even reached out to me at that point. She's like, "Hey, what's going on with you two? And, you know, it's better with me if I know." And I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm here in Arkansas and whatever. And so I thought me and Jimmy were broken up at this point. I'm like, okay, there's too many problems so far, and I'm not equipped to handle it. So we're broken up. But I did still love him. Like, I was still like, you know, in La La Land. And I'm trying to think of the dates, but it was like maybe a week later, I started to get sick, like runny nose, my throat hurt and stuff. And I'm like, why am I sick when I didn't have the kids for Christmas? I had them all for Thanksgiving, but I didn't have them for Christmas. And I was like, I haven't been around any children. I haven't been at work. Why am I sick? So I go to the gas station, and I'm like, let me get this dumbass test. I don't think I'm pregnant, but I take a test. I was like, oh shit, I see this faint line. I'm pregnant. And I'm like, in my head right then and there, I'm like, this is my 5th kid, 3rd, whatever. I was like, okay, I have to make it work. Like, bitch, you made your bed, now lie in it. So I call him, I'm like, Jimmy, like, hey, something happened and whatever. And I let him know, and he was like, well, I guess I expected that, you know, being with you, and I have no issue. Like, and I thought, I was kind of relieved. I'm like, okay, good. Like, I'm not going to be alone for this pregnancy or whatever. And I was still like, you know, kind of skeptical about everything because everything happened so damn fast. And I think, I don't know the exact dates, but his divorce was then finalized, and from there we start dating a lot more exclusively. Like, I'm going to his house like 4 days a week, things like that. And 5 months into the relationship, we broke up. We just butted heads, boundaries. I've always was suspicious of him. We just broke up, and I wasn't with him for like the rest of my pregnancy at all. I was by myself, living by myself, just, you know, with my son full time, seeing my daughters and stuff, and going to work. I was devastated, but I was like, well, this is life. Like, it is what it is. Did it to myself. Like, I just moved forward, however that looked like. I had support from work. I had, you know, I still moved, like, I lived life. And his family was supportive of me as well. We didn't even talk. And then I had our daughter in September. And when that happened, he reached out to me. He's like, hey, I know I made mistakes, but I'm not going to do the same ones again. You know, the past is the past. You know, it's just me and my son at the house. I'll show you. And it pulled at my heartstrings because, I mean, I did miss him, and I just had our baby. I was super vulnerable. So he's like, let's meet at the restaurant where we first met at. And I met him there, and I had the baby, you know, with me, and he just looked like hell. Like, his eyes were red, he looked bloated, and it just seemed like he was off. But I was like, okay, like, he automatically wanted to be back together, but I was like, what the hell? Like, we weren't together for like 5 months. But let's, I guess, give this a try. Like, I forgave him. And in this time frame, I was looking in his emails because I'm nosy, and I saw some cryptic messages from Danita. Like, she was like giving him, like, she was throwing jabs in there, like, you just have kids with everybody, you have kids all over the world. I'm like, what the hell is she talking about? And then she was talking shit to him about being back with me and how I'm a bad influence and all this stuff. So I messaged her, and I was like, really, Danita, I'm a bad influence when, like, who, believe it or not, cleaned up the house when I'm literally postpartum and bleeding? Huh? Like, this house was a mess. And then who took him to an AA meeting right away as soon as I gave birth, basically? Who did this, and this? And she's like, oh, I didn't know that. And, you know, and she told me, she's like, well, you do know that he has another child. I'm like, no, I don't know that. And she's like, she told me that she had a notification on her watch that showed that there was like a Walgreens receipt for like a DNA test. And she's like, this was in August, I guess. And she was like, that's strange. Why would he have ordered that? Because they had a joint account with Walgreens. She's like, that's strange. Why would he have ordered that when that child with Melanie is not born yet? And she looked in her email, and she received paternity results between him and someone else that came out that he was in fact the father of another child. And I confronted him about this, like, horrified, devastated, like, what the hell? And he denied it and denied it and denied it. And even Danita sent me the screenshot of the test, and I'm like, I have it in my hands, just tell me the truth. And no, I'm like, I'm not gonna leave you, just tell me what, because I had to do the math. Like, this girl he got with was way before me, and he admitted to it. I'm like, okay. And I had to think about it. I'm like, okay, I didn't know about this, and I had no idea, like, when I met him, about this possibility. And at this point, I already had my baby, right? So I reached out to the girl, and she told me details about that, and that basically, you know, that child is taken care of by her family. I don't want to give details. That's her privacy and her business. And there's that. And I thought to myself, okay, so what am I gonna, like, what does that have to do with me, really? Like, am I gonna not give my daughter a father because he has a child with someone else, and that is worked out how it is, or because it's already too late. I already have this child, so am I just gonna hold that against him because it was before me? But people were saying, oh, she was a mistress to a girlfriend. They were never a boyfriend and girlfriend, and a mistress, there's no such thing. If you're just like, even if they were, like, they weren't married, like, they were never anything. She thinks that, but no. And I know people say, oh, well, he lies. Like, they met once. They met through Facebook dating. She's a married person, and he bought her some steak. They had a hotel room, and that happened. And I don't know. But I don't want to talk badly about her, even though she talked badly to me, because I don't really hold anything to her. I kind of feel sorry for her, too. So, no, I'm not the mistress of that baby before mine or anything. And I had no idea about that child till after my child was born. And I did talk to that girl, and they weren't going to get together. So what was I going to do? Not give my daughter her father for something that happened before me? I was, cornered, basically. I'm trying to think of where I left off. How I didn't know about the girl. Okay, so there's that part. I was angry at him because in the time frame that we weren't together, he had met her down there to do the test and things like that. They didn't work out. He comes back up here, dates around, whatever. And I had to decide, like, okay, the past is the past. Are you going to move forward with him or not? Because you have this infant right here. So what are you going to do? So I forgave him. And at this point, me and Danita are actually talking, like, a lot. Like, we're talking to each other on the phone, and I'm getting along with her. I'm messaging her. She's sharing with me information. I'm sharing with her information, and I'm actually enjoying talking to her. At some points, I'm like, damn, I kind of want to talk to her. Like, I miss her. Like, damn, I think I like her shit. And everything is fine. And me and Jimmy are dating like usual. And everyone's like, oh, good, he's back with you, and, like, you have your baby. Like, let's, give it a second chance. And me and Danita did not get along when she mentioned something, because my stepson was venting to her about how I got on his ass about school. And she said something to Jimmy, like, how I'm not doing right by him. And I said, how am I not doing right by him when I'm trying to make sure he goes to school? Like, I was irritated at her, and I said, respectfully, you should just talk about your son or your child with him. Like, there should be boundaries. And she got mad at me. She's like, oh, that'll never happen, or whatever the case is. But what she didn't know is, like, we were planning to get married, like, that week. So I was like, whatever. I said, okay, I hope you change your mind. Like, I hope you, like, I don't know. I didn't want to fight with her. I was like, I hope you get over that. Like, let me know when you're ready to talk. Like, I'm not trying to fight with you. So we got married on a Friday, and then the next day she's sending him, like, YouTube videos of their songs and calling him a fraud and stuff. And I told her, I'm like, you don't have to do that. Like, he's married now. And she's like, fuck off, Melanie. No, he never wanted you. That's why you were by yourself in the maternity dress. So, like, we just, from that point on, did not get along. And, like, she's like, I don't want to see her at the exchanges. He's like, well, I don't want to see the guy you're with at the exchanges, because it was someone that was involved. He asserted himself in the middle of their separation and divorce, and he works with them. Whatever. So I was already, like, looking at my husband sideways, like, are you making a decision without me? And it was a back and forth fight, like, hey, I'm the wife. And he's like, no, this is just for my daughter. So that was an ongoing issue. So we're gonna fast forward to around September timeframe. So at this point, I find out I'm pregnant, right? And I'm excited because even though we have our highs and lows, it's a blended family. There's a lot of dynamics. How couldn't there be highs and lows? But we also have very beautiful moments too, with the kids together, doing, like, holidays together, going to church together, going to breakfast together, celebrating birthdays together. Like, we've had great moments. Why lie about that? So I was very much all about, trying to have a family and things like that. And I wanted another child for my daughter, because I was like, okay, the other kids rotate out of the house a lot. The oldest child is the oldest child. I want her to have that forever plus one. And I ended up getting pregnant. So what happened with that was my husband's ex-sister-in-law, the twin, me and her did not get along either. She asked my husband to help her with something with her vehicle, and he was going to help her. And I was like, no, you're not. Like, she disrespected me. She disrespected our marriage. You're not doing anything for her. I thought you were done with those people. He's like, well, it's just $200, whatever. And I'm like, you're going to lose more than $200 that you're going to get if you help her. And what happened was he strong-armed me that he was maintaining his ground, and I was so mad at him. And so I said, you know what, then, if you care about those people so much, have them take you to your doctor's appointment. I don't care. Because of the alcoholism, he's on ketamine, I don't know. And it's really helpful. He has not drank since. He has not drank, I want to say, in over a year. So it's a very helpful thing. But those doctor's appointments do take a few hours on a Saturday. And so I was like holding my grounds, like it's either me or them. And so he ended up going to his doctor's appointment with his ex-wife. And at this point, I'm like, no, like, just, I'll take you. He's like, well, she already moved her day around, this and that. I wanted you to take me. And I'm like, okay. So at this point, I had to just trust him. And what happened was, he said he was going to go to his appointment and come home. And I had an ultrasound appointment for later that day, because I'm pregnant, mind you. But he never comes home. And I'm calling him and blowing up his phone. And at this point, I called the police, honestly, for a missing person report, because he's never done this before. And then the police go to Danita's house, and her boyfriend answers the door. At this point, it's almost midnight. And the boyfriend was like, yeah, my girlfriend left, and she never came home. And then they were like, yeah, the police officers come back in my driveway, and they're like, okay, now we know why he's not home. And then they were laughing, and they're like, well, now do you regret letting him go? And I'm like, I don't know. And I was just like, I didn't sleep at all. Like, I was just exhausted. I was scared. I was all these emotions. He comes home the next day at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and he shows me he was in a hotel because he just wanted some peace. I said, was she there? He said no. And then I found out through Danita's boyfriend that she was in fact there, because she told him he was, but that she was on a different bed and that their daughter was there and nothing happened. I felt like, I know I'm being so nonchalant about it now, but I was so distraught and devastated. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I was like beside myself. I had a miscarriage 4 days later, and he tells me, like, if you can't move forward and get over this, we're gonna get a divorce. Just don't bring it up again. And we went to a counselor, and she's like, all right, Melanie, if you don't move forward and get over this, you have to let him, like, kind of like everyone was pressuring me to get over it or leave him. So 2 weeks later, he files, and he says it's not just because of that, but because of like how I always was suspicious of him anyway, and he was sick of explaining himself, and he's innocent, blah, blah, blah. But from that point, I was depressed, obviously, because of what happened. I was depressed because of the miscarriage, and I was just beside myself, not even sleeping in our room as much. Going home at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, like sometimes, just didn't want to even come home myself because I didn't feel like it was a home anymore. So everyone's like, oh, the cleaning, this and that. Yeah, I work full time, and we were in a really weird spot, still are. And at that point I was like, I was blaming myself. Like, you have to trust him, and it is your fault, and you need to forgive him, and you need to work on your marriage. You need to do this. Like, it was like I was faulting myself that like I put him in that predicament, and that I needed to suck it up and forgive and move forward. So then it was like 2 weeks later. No, so the second week. So that weekend that she came and busted through the fucking house, she was supposed to be there to pick up her daughter, which never happens. They usually meet at a spot together, but she went to, like, I was in the bed. I had already made tacos for all the kids, watched spicy stuff all over the counter. There's 6 kids in the house in total at that time frame. And at that time, I don't know, like, I was in the bed, and before I knew it, I just heard, hey, she's gonna pick her up, but then she was right in front of me. And from that point, you can see what happened in the videos. So I tried to get a restraining order the very next day. I went to court. I got a restraining order that held up for just 14 days. I put everyone's name on there to include the dogs, I don't know what prompted me to add the dog on the restraining order, but the judge granted it. And when we went to our permit, like the actual hearing, the judge kind of took it as a joke, and he's like, no, like, you two are just being petty, like, I'm not going to grant you this restraining order, so just get along. And there was that, and I'll explain more, one sec. So his reasoning for that is he maintains he did not cheat on me. He maintains that he only defended her because he didn't want her arrested in front of their daughter, which at the time when she was arrested, their daughter was not present. That's what he maintains for the entirety of this. People are like, oh, you won't give him a divorce. So with that, like I said, I was blaming myself, and I wanted to prove that, like, I know, so sad. I was like, no, let me stop talking about it then. Let me move forward. But everything was a trigger. It could be a song. It could be whatever, like, just a blatant disrespect. So I was taking classes to be a Catholic. I was just trying to went to therapy, tried to get back into working out, try to do everything right. And in this time frame too, Danita, even though she had been arrested and there was a restraining order hearing and everything, she still didn't stop messaging me through Instagram every so often, or calling. And before even all this happened, she would be calling me on Mondays. And mind you, I would be alone, because I'm so dangerous. I would be alone with her daughter, taking care of her with my son, while my husband is working, and while she was getting shit-faced on a Monday and just blowing up my phone. She left me a voicemail, all these things, but that part is not included in anything, right? So whatever. Anyway, I posted the videos because I just had it. I had enough. I felt that there was no justice because of how I went to seek protection for myself, and because of the fact that she did it in front of my daughters, which damaged them. And my ex-husband, of course, had to be given those videos because I had to show him the truth. And of course, I'm not going to talk about the thing he's married to. I don't care. Anyway, just because I have a past doesn't mean that what happened that day in front of the children is right at all. And people don't know the background or context of anything else. Everything else about the house, about my 2020 arrest, all of that, irrelevant. Even if I was a mistress, which I wasn't, irrelevant. What happened in front of the children was uncalled for. If he had a problem with me, you could have at any point called me and said, let's talk woman to woman. Let's meet at a public place. This is what happened. That's what happened. But instead, you go into the house acting like a belligerent idiot, scaring everybody. That's not right. The courts laughed it off. Everyone laughed it off. So I guess to be granted anything, I had to wait to be hit or something. So, and everyone is like, well, why didn't you swing at her? Why didn't you do that? Does it look like I needed another arrest? Does it look like I needed to explain why I'm in jail again, to work, court, or otherwise? Is she worth it? No. Is he worth it? No. I'm out of breath as I'm walking fast. Damn, out of shape. So where we stand now, he's on a work trip for 2 weeks. I said, look, and it's funny, he got me a ring, and he put me on his insurance like 2 weeks ago before his work trip. He was like, oh, I'm leaving and you're not even sad. I'm like, I don't know how to feel, because it's like a defense mechanism. What am I going to hear? He's like, no one's going to see me. I'm a married man. The only person who would see me is you. I'm not going to do anything, because I'm sitting here. He was like, help me pack. And I'm like, okay, do you want polos, jeans for when you go out? Like, I'm not doing those things. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Anyway, that's it. That's all. I just wanted to tell my side of the story. I don't have anything to hide, and that's really just it.
Well, people, that man, I just want to say she's too cute for Jimmy. Honestly, lots of damn kids, but too cute for Jimmy. I don't know if it's self-esteem. She could probably have a budding career in the military if she stops getting pregnant, but she keeps getting pregnant by a loser, by multiple losers. And she had a baby by a random guy who she didn't care to explain. But that's her. Doesn't look bad. Probably some low self-esteem somewhere in there. This is the girl who stole her family.